An exciting final day is on the cards in Cheltenham after Gloucestershire and Derbyshire exchanged blows on the third day of their LV County Championship match, with Benny Howell grabbing his best bowling figures of the season of 4 for 60. Derbyshire were set to get a big first innings lead when they resumed on 216 for 2 on the third morning, trailing by 140 runs. Shivnarine Chandapal was soon advancing from his overnight 50. Wayne Madsen began the day on 79 but added only one more run to that when Howell got the first of his 4 wickets, Madsen slicing a cut to Will Tavares in the gully. The weather was not as bright as it had been on the previous couple of days. In spite of the forecast, it was cloudy and muggy, and the Gloucestershire attack would have hoped that would help them out. It didn't appear so though, as Chandapal and Wes Durston began to develop another partnership. They'd added 30 runs before Chandapal fell to the second new ball, Michael Klinger clinging on well at second slip to earn Will Gidman a wicket. So out for 73, Chandapal was denied the 70th first-class 100 of his career. Durston though batted positively. He would have been pleased to be back and batting on a slow pitch after he'd had to retire hurt in his last game after taking a very nasty blow to the head from Graham Napier. He didn't have to worry about such things here. In fact, the man most in danger was the fielder at short leg when Durston went on the attack against Tom Smith. This shot carried the distance. Durston had a big slice of luck in getting to his 50, an inside edge off Liam Norwell just missing the stumps on the way to the fine leg boundary. That was the former Somerset man's 9th 4, which took him to his half-century off only 49 deliveries. The shot also brought up the Derbyshire 300 in the 91st over. Durston had moved on to 58 when he fell in a similar way to Madsen earlier on, a cut going to Hamish Marshall, this time at backward point. That left the visitors on 314 for 5 and they went to the lunch break with 12 more runs added, now trailing them by only 30, with Gareth Cross and Alex Hughes looking to take them into the lead. That they did early on in the afternoon session, but then from nowhere they lost their last 5 wickets for just 12 runs in 7 overs. On 39, Hughes edged Howell behind to Adam Rouse to end a stand of 46 with Cross. David Wainwright was bowled behind his legs by Jack Taylor before he'd troubled the scorers. Tony Palladino got a thin edge off a back foot drive to give Howell his 3rd success. And his 4th arrived in his next over as Tom Taylor missed and Howell hit. It should have been 5 for Howell for just the 2nd time in his career, but Mark Footitt was spilled in the slip's next ball, leaving it to Taylor to mop up as Cross was caught on the boundary on 19. It meant that Derbyshire were all out for 372 to lead in the end by only 16 runs. Something must have happened to the pitch as the wickets kept on coming. After making a ton in the first innings, Tavares was out for a duck in the second, after Footitt located the edge of his bat in the 7th over. Gloucestershire had a lead of only 5 when Klinger hit Footitt with power, but only as far as Wainwright, who held on at point. Taylor then grabbed his 6th wicket of the match by bowling Alex Gidman, who played over the top of the ball. Ian Cobain followed the next over and Gloucestershire were effectively on 24 for 4. There had been no real sign of such things on the first 2 days, but now the bowlers were enjoying themselves and Wainwright was getting some turn. So Marshall had to use all of his experience to try to get his side back on track. This has not been a kind ground in the last decade to the home side, although any supporter who goes to Cheltenham will not be disappointed. Marshall received valuable support from Will Gidman. On the back of back-to-back hundreds, he must have been confident, and the way he lifted Wainwright for a 6 suggested that was right. He tried to attack the left-arm spinner when he could, and thanks to him and Marshall, Gloucestershire began to restore parity. These two stuck together for 25 overs in which they added 81 runs to put their side 105 runs to the good. But 20 minutes before the close, Durston had Gidman held in the slips by Madsen, and the batsman was on his way this time for 39. Smith was brought in as night watchman and edged Palladino just short of the slips. He and Marshall held on though, and now Gloucestershire will go into the final day of this excellent game of cricket on 137 for 5, which puts them 121 runs ahead. If they could get that lead to above 200, then they may fancy their chances on this wearing pitch. Marshall, who resumed his innings on 43, may hold the key to that.